night has fallen. The power grid down in multiple countries, spanning 6 different countries. Train stations, subways, airports, bus stations all closed down. Internet down. Banking system temporary down. Water and utilities down. Everything down to the street lights. This may sound like a movie script, but it's actually not just a movie script, but it is actually part of a movie script. The new trailer to Night Has Fallen, which I think is a fan favorite, not an actual movie based on how the trailer has been made. But I found it interesting because you actually couldn't write this stuff up, because as of right now, they are experiencing major blackouts, and everything I just said is happening right now in Europe, including the part that it's spanning 6 different countries. Obviously, this is a hot topic right now on YouTube because a lot of people are claiming that it could be something a little bit more. It does seem extremely interesting, especially when you read up on it. Some of what they're saying is going on. It doesn't seem to add up quite right. For the people that are out there, my prayers go out to you. I know I have a lot of subscribers out there, and it is interesting what they're calling it. Right now, they're just saying it's a weather phenomenon. And we're going to talk about a weather phenomenon here in just a few minutes. If you enjoyed today's video, please take a quick minute, hit that subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, I cannot thank you enough for following the channel. We post videos every day about current events, preparing for what could happen, everything from wealth preservation, all kinds of different topics. And we try to do our best to kind of keep y'all informed. So please hit that subscribe button. Help me out. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on what you think is actually going on right now in Europe. I love to hear people's opinions, and I'm extremely respectful towards your opinions. Please be respectful to other people's opinions. With that being said, a special thank you goes out to all of our members of the channel, those of you guys that are members. We had an amazing free silver event the other night. We will be doing another one in a couple of weeks where we're going to be giving away some more free silver. It's only $1.99 to become a member. Plus, it keeps you informed. Plus, it helps fund the channel. So let's jump in and talk real quick about what's going on in Europe. Before we do, I like to kind of pull up the precious metals prices right now, because we are seeing a slight drop in precious metals. However, it's not something I'm worried about at all, especially if you see drops in the stock market and cryptocurrencies. It's just another thing. So in my opinion, I'm not really at all worried about it. I mean, especially when it's only, as of right now, 17 cents. It's just a buying opportunity, period. Because I really do think that gold and silver is a safe haven asset. Computer seems to be running a little slow today. I'm going to have to probably clean it up a little bit. I'm not really sure why it's running so slow today. But as you can see, we do have silver trading down 17 cents. Or 0.5%. So some people might say, oh, it's dropping. It's not the end of the world. It really ain't. I'm hoping it drops a little bit more so I can get a little bit more for my dollar. But I think it's important to remember, don't only be prepared when it comes to gold and silver, because gold and silver does have a purpose. It's a solid asset. It's an item that you can barter with. It's an item that is wealth preservation. And once you realize that, you understand, okay, it does play an important role in a security safety net. With that being said, we're clearly seeing in Europe right now having, maybe you might say cash, maybe you might say something to trade for food, but clearly digital money is not the answer, especially when they are claiming right now that, oh, some weather, and we're going to get into the weather in a minute, because I can tell you right now, extreme cold just all of a sudden swamped Europe, and that's why they're receiving blackout. A sudden major temperature drop. Not ice rain, not freezing rain, not hurricane winds, just a drop in temperature. But when you look at the pictures, this is what really cracks me up. that people believe this nonsense. You look at these pictures. Do these people look cold to you? Do they look like they are in a major drop in temperature? This is not what I expect when I see that kind of stuff. It's really almost crazy to me that people believe the nonsense that media tells us. And yes, for those of you that don't know, a massive power outage affected Spain, Portugal, and actually multiple other countries on April 28th, causing major blackouts across much of the Liberian Peninsula. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I apologize. Outages were reportedly due to a sudden drop in power. No kidding. Potentially related to a rare atmospheric phenomenon in Spain, causing extreme temperature variations and anomalies, oscillations in high voltage lines. The outages were not caused by a cyber attack. So they're saying. The fact that you had to elaborate on that does not give any confidence to me, in my personal opinion. But it doesn't matter whether you're in Europe, whether you're in the United States. Let's be honest. The power grids in almost every country are severely overburdened. And it's just a matter of time before something does happen. You know, whether you are preparing for an outage, whether you're preparing for a hurricane, whether you're preparing for a dollar collapse, a lot of the same preparations fall into place. And you have to understand, we're all preppers. Everybody that is watching this right now is a prepper. And I'll tell you why. I hear people say, I ain't a prepper. You're a tinfoil hat nut. Okay, maybe. But you're a prepper. Do you buy home insurance? Yes. Well, then you're preparing for a potential fire at your home. You buy hurricane insurance. Okay. You're preparing for a hurricane. You buy car insurance. You're preparing for a car accident. Do you buy health insurance? You're preparing that the possibility you could get sick. Why would people not get a little bit of food insurance? Why would people not get a little bit of wealth insurance? You know, everybody thinks that when stuff bad happens, someone is going to come to your aid. It's not a guarantee that the government is going to be able to be everywhere at once. When I talk about stuff like this to people I know, I had a lot of people. I remember when we had the big ice storm in, I can't remember what year. It was in New England. It was like 1999 maybe, 1998 maybe. Had a huge ice storm. Lost power for up to 3 weeks. And yeah, aid might have came in. It might have taken time, but you know, they came in, they got the power turned back on. Lots of trucks from a lot of different states came in. I was here in Texas during Hurricane Harvey at Ground Zero. And yes, the military came in. The military was giving out MREs. They were giving out water, ice. They set up huge bases around different towns. And yes, that happened. But when something bad happens, they can't be everywhere at once. You need to be dependent on yourself. You need to have a certain amount of food. I actually just got done texting a good friend of mine up in New England. And we were talking, and I was texting him stuff. And yeah, when I talk, sometimes people worry. You know, this is a good friend of mine. He says, you know, you have a knack for either you're incredibly lucky on calling stuff, or you just happen to hit it right sometimes, and a lot of the time. And so, you know, yeah, I mean, you have to be prepared. There's a lot of things out there that are happening that they're not going to tell you. What do you think they're going to tell you? If they told you it was a cyber attack, what kind of stage does that paint? It puts fear in people. So they had to specifically come out and make up some kind of story. And I'm going to call it makeup because I'm going to show you some articles because I just did some research on, can a cold temperature drop cause a power outage? Well, first of all, yes, it can. If you've got freezing rain, the rain will build up on trees. The trees will get heavy, break down, fall on lines. That can happen. Can cold weather? Well, if you have a sudden crash in temperature, then yeah, you could experience heavy winds. the clash between the hot and the cold. We experience that a lot in Texas, or when a cold front comes in, you have a lot of that happening, and you have essentially heavy winds. Well, heavy winds can take down power lines, and like I said, it doesn't take much for the power grid to go down. I mean, there's stories about where it reported started from. Some people are saying Spain, some people are saying Portuguese. You know, the grid all over is in trouble over there right now. Something major is going on. But what I want you to remember as I'm reading through some of this information is specifically remember that it was caused by a drop in temperature. Now, you know, the first thing that I thought of right off is, first of all, a lot of people wanted to talk about the fires that broke down in California. All of a sudden they had all the fires popping up, and a lot of people said the fires in Hawaii, and a lot of people said that it was lasers and energy weapons and that type of stuff. You know, it got me wondering, can a laser beam, I know a laser beam can heat something up, because I've actually seen people use lasers to actually start small fires, and it's kind of interesting to see. But it got me wondering, can a laser cool stuff? So the first question that I asked is, can you cool something off with a laser beam? Yes, laser beams can be used to cool objects, specifically atoms and molecules, through a process called laser cooling. This method involves a slowing down of the atoms and trapping them, effectively reducing the temperature. While commonly used scientific research, laser cooling is not practical for everyday cooling tasks, like chilling food. Okay, so first of all, I got to come out and say this. I don't think it was a cooling of temperature. I've already showed you guys them photos. Those photos here, when I scroll through these photos and I see people on the ground, I don't see people shivering. I don't see people panicking from a freeze. What I see is, you know, people hot. I actually think people, by the looks of these photos, there ain't no AC. Temperatures are getting hotter. They can say it was a drop in temperature. Anybody that's watching this from overseas over there, if you guys are watching this, let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear y'all's comments on what you think is going on. They're not going to tell you the truth. Why? Because it causes panic. Just like they're not going to tell you the food could run out in this country here in America. If all of a sudden China stops sending aluminum back to us, cans, we're not able to get cans. The food starts, you know, getting to the point where they're processing it. It's ripe. It's ready to pick. All of a sudden, they can't get aluminum cans. What's going to happen to that food? How are they going to get it on the shelves? Power outages, stores closing down. How are you going to get food? A lot of people don't think about this, and everybody wants to talk about Bitcoin, and crypto. Had someone leave me a message this morning that, no, the energy used to produce a Bitcoin, that is the money. That is the value. The value is the energy you used. Okay, you already done used it. If I use up a battery, and now it's a uncharged, empty battery, what good is it? It serves no purpose. Yeah, you can recharge it, but it's going to cost you more energy. The fact that someone is going to make that argument, and when I did the video yesterday, I talked specifically about the new stable coins that are coming out. I found it funny. Some people are like, oh, fear is alive in America. That was the comment I got. Clearly, people are just trying to drum up fear to get views. Call it what you want. To me, it doesn't matter. The truth of the matter is something bigger is going on. Now, I don't expect this video to get a lot of views. I really don't. So if you want to help me out, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button. Because the videos like this do not get many views. In fact, anything that goes against mainstream, they want to silence. And I'm convinced this is major. This is the start of something big. It really is. The next question that I really had was, can a drop in temperature cause the power to go out? So, the first answer that I got was kind of vague. It said, yes, a drop in temperature, especially when combined with other factors like freezing rain, Snow, strong winds can definitely cause power outage. Well, yeah, because it's not the temperature drop that caused the power outage. It's the buildup of the ice and rain on the trees that fall on the power lines, or it's the strong winds that push over the power lines. It's not the actual drop. The fact that they're blaming this on a simple weather phenomenon, if that was the case, we would have blackouts everywhere in the world. Let's be honest. A weather phenomenon, I mean, even if it's a rare weather phenomenon, how rare is it that we haven't seen the weather simply a drop in temperature, which is what they're calling it right now? They had to deliberately say it's not a cyber attack. Why? Obviously, they don't want people freaking out that somebody, another country, could have that much power. But let's be honest. A cyber warfare is the future. The future is not going to be with pew-pews in trenches. It's going to be, simply put, cyber warfare. I hope it doesn't advance to full-out nuke. Could it? I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, it could. I mean, but cyber warfare is bad enough. I mean, because with cyber warfare, I mean, you can go in anywhere and kind of wreak havoc. And that's essentially what it is. I was actually telling a friend of mine, I'm not convinced anything could ever attack the United States from outside and have any kind of victory. I don't believe it could happen. We've got two major oceans on each side of us. We've got essentially weak neighbors. I hate to say weak. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hardworking neighbors, countries that produce a lot of resources, countries that have factories, they have mining facilities. But warfare, they're not equipped to handle us. Therefore, there's not much that could take us. Our problem is going to be from within, I believe. This country has never been more divided, and I've talked about this in videos before. The fact that we are this divided, I've actually had friends that I can't even have a conversation with. I mean, they literally just don't want to hear anything outside of a realm of possibility if it doesn't line up with their beliefs already. I mean, I'm big on religion. Some of y'all know that about me. I study a lot of different religions, and I'm usually eager to take defense on religion because I think there's a lot of different religions out there, and when you can talk to people and have conversations, it really, I'll say at least puts thought out there in thinking. And I don't personally think there's anything wrong with discussion. It's when people are not willing to hear anything that opposes their beliefs. I've been watching a lot of YouTubers that have been going out during these protests and talking to these people. And some of them just outright want to throw soda at them. They want to throw stuff at them. They want to punch them. They want to yell at them, cuss them out. Guy's just asking a couple questions. I'm like, really? If you can't defend what you're protesting, you are uneducated. Don't get me wrong. If you can have a conversation with someone and you have a different belief as me, whether it's anything, I mean, I don't know, maybe you believe in the Big Bang and everything is just natural. Or maybe you believe in the world is flat or round or whatever the case may be. People went to the moon or they didn't or whatever the case. If you can have some education aside from I seen it on the news, I know it happened. Why would they lie to you? I don't know. Why do you think people would lie? The same reason friends lie to friends. The same reason people take advantage of stuff for some sort of gain. Whether that be they want to take custody of all the gold and silver that they can and leave you with nothing but debt when that day comes, or whether they want to take over your personal stuff that you've built up. Whatever the case may be, maybe they just want you working for them. It doesn't matter what it is. People lie all the time. To think that the high-ups are not going to lie to you is just outrageous to me. And I'm willing to talk a little bit about this stuff today because my video that I put up yesterday had such horrible views. I said, you know what? If YouTube is going to burn me on views, I'm going to give them something to burn me about because I get worked up a little bit, and today was one of them days. I can tell right off when a video is not going to do good. If YouTube doesn't show it to a single person, It's like nowhere. The only people that click on it are the people that come to the channel every morning and start watching, or the people that are on our Discord. Please consider hitting that Discord link below if you have Discord and join our Discord. It is free right now to join. A lot of good information on there. Everything from homesteading, prepping, gardening, whatever the case may be. I don't gain nothing by you joining. It's just another person that joins, and you get a little notification, my videos pop up. So I guess it keeps you informed, but I don't gain anything from it. It's not like, it's free to join right now, and it's a lot of fun. So it's kind of interesting. Now, the next thing I wanted to ask was, is there such thing as laser weapons? Because some people want to come out and say there's no such thing right off. And here's the thing. Let's be honest. Google is probably going to be a little bit more, I'm going to say, lax. Google is definitely not a conspiracy. I think if anything, they're going to probably downplay stuff more and say, not likely that there's laser weapons, or maybe there might be some small little laser beam or something. But yes, there are laser weapons, also known as direct energy weapons, are a reality and are being increasingly deployed by militaries worldwide. Well, okay, so we've got laser beam weapons. We've just shown you that laser beams can raise temperature or lower temperature by either heating or cooling the particles in the atmosphere. So it's possible that this could somehow be tied to something even worse than cyber warfare. Do I think that's the case? I don't know. I just know something is strange. If you're watching this video and you want to talk a little bit about it on your channel, please give me a shout out though. Let people know, let your subscriber know to check out the channel, that you had heard it here first. It really does help the channel grow, especially, like I said, when you talk about these kind of things. If you hear this on my channel or any channel, give them a thumbs up, a subscribe, because these type of people are doing this essentially for nothing, because this actually puts YouTubers in jeopardy by seeing their views drop. And I mean, do I think I'm in jeopardy, like someone's going to come and get me? No, I don't think that. I don't think that some tinfoil hat nuts theory on energy weapons is caused to, I don't know, get taken away in the middle of the night. But I do think that YouTubers that have channels that talk about stuff that's not to their liking do get silenced. And if they can't find a reason on this video, they can find a reason on some video. That's why some people move to other platforms where they can speak freely a little bit more about their real thoughts. They don't have to be essentially watch what they say. So watching this, you guys tell me in the comments, what do you think? I think this is the start of something bigger that is about ready to happen. And I tell people, you don't have to be way ahead of everybody else. You just need to be ahead a couple of days before everybody else. I'll give you an example. During the cough, when stores started getting wiped out, if you didn't catch it a couple days before everybody else, you were standing in lines. How many of y'all remember me out there with my little camera recording the lines at Walmart? You got 400 people standing in line, 6 feet apart, spread out across the parking lot and through the store, all in lines. You get up there and they're like, we can only let you have 2 rolls of toilet paper. It's the max. 1 roll of paper towels, 4 canned goods of your choice, no overbuying. Exactly. Why would anybody overbuy? Obviously, people are panicked at that point. That's why I tell you, don't wait until panic sets in. Be prepared before. If you go out now and you buy some extra canned goods, I'll tell you this from experience. Don't buy junk you ain't going to use. That's what I was telling my buddy. I said, here's the thing. When the whole cough happened, I ran out. I bought a bunch of stuff. I wanted to be prepared. I wanted to have what I wanted. I wanted my ramen. I like my ramen noodles. Sometimes I just like the packets that are in them, the little salt packets. I like my Spam maybe, but I don't like Spam personally. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, maybe you like Spam. Whatever you like. Spam, I'm not a big fan of it. But yet I bought a bunch of it. Why? Because I was scared. I started getting a little scared. but I bought before everybody else. You just need to be ahead of a lot of people. Be first, and you're okay. Don't wait until the last minute. Stock up a little bit of extra stuff. I don't think it's any coincidence that the CEOs of Sam's, Walmart, some of the major food places, that they were all just in Washington. Someone said, oh, that's normal. They go to Washington every year. Okay, I'll give you that. They do go to Washington. A lot of them are lobbying, but usually they send lobbyists. It's not the CEO himself in Washington to try to get you to vote on a certain policy. And it's extremely rare that they all show up at the same time. Look what happened just a week ago. You had the CEOs of all these big companies. A lot of them came out and said it was because of tariffs. That was the word on the street. I think it might have been a little bit more than that. And this video is not designed to strike fear in you. Like I said, there's no reason to be scared if you're prepared. People that are prepared are trained. The military, that's one of the big things about the military. When I was in the military, they train us. We train, and when stuff happens, we're prepared. We're not scared. Do people get a little scared when something crazy happens right then and there? Yeah, that can. However, if you're prepared, you don't need to panic. Panic is where people make bad decisions. I'll give you another scenario. And this is a true story, and I've talked to you about this before if you've been following the channel for a while. So I had a friend of mine ask me if I would sit down and meet with a buddy of his. This buddy of his was not into precious metals, but he was hearing some stuff online about the government shutdown. He was scared. He hadn't taken time to prepare. My other buddy, who I went there because of him, he was prepared. He ain't worried about it. If the government shuts down, oh well. If they wreck the dollar, it's bumming, but hey, he's going to be covered. He's got a little bit of precious metals under his belt. So I start talking to the guy, and I said, the first question I like to ask people that are new, hey, why do you think it's a good idea to start stacking precious metals? And he told me, he goes, well, with the government shut down, things could get really bad. I think they're going to take our bank accounts. Banks are in trouble. He went on and on with stuff that I talk about on here quite a bit. And I said, okay, that's all good information. You heard that on YouTube. I said, the problem comes up. Do you think that the government is trying to fix these problems? He said, I think they're trying, but I don't think they'll be able to. I said, and you're probably right. They won't be able to fix them, but they will be able to kick the can down the road. They'll be able to push the can down the road a little bit because they don't want to see the system crash. Let's be honest. I don't think they do. I know some people say they want to see it crash because we owe too much money. And to a certain point, that is true. But at the end of the day, we don't want to see it crash until we at least buy back the gold that we should have had in Fort Knox, that we've probably loaned out, sent off, and now it's floating around the world and we don't have it. But luckily, with these tariffs going on, people have been rushing to send us gold so they can get the gold in the country before the tariffs kick in. Once you understand some of these things, you start to understand that it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow that things happen. So if you rush out of panic and all of a sudden buy up your entire life savings in precious metals, I'm going to tell you there's a good chance that you're going to be burned. Unless you have extra money and that's just your extra money that you're spending. If you tell me that you went out and you were going to buy $20,000 in canned goods and food and this and that, and you don't know the first thing about this stuff, you're probably going to end up with a bug infestation. Your macaroni and cheese are going to get little bugs in there. Your flour, your pasta, your rice, you're going to get weebles. Anything that's not frozen is probably going to end up going bad. Some people, they think you can buy a ton of stuff, put it in the freezer, and you're good to go. Okay, to a certain point, yeah. If it sits there too long, you're going to get freezer burn, or your power could even go out. I mean, what good would all this frozen food be if you're in Europe right now? It wouldn't do you any good. The power goes out. Hey, you're just going to have a big barbecue for everybody and your neighbors. I mean, great, but tomorrow you're going to be hurting. Unless you know how to smoke stuff. I mean, if you know how to smoke your meat, then hey, then you might be all right buying extra stuff. But a lot of people want to go in rash and rush into stuff and not really think things out. This is a process. Preparing for anything is a process. You don't run out and just buy car insurance. Hopefully you shop around. You don't just take the first car insurance you get offered. Once you prepare for this stuff, you know that you're okay. You take the time, you research it, you look into it, and you'll be all right. Don't rush into anything. But, a lot of what's going on right now, I mean, it's a little scary. It really is. I cannot say how much I would encourage. I don't give people financial advice. This is in no way, obviously, we're not even talking really finance tonight. We might have glazed over it a little bit. But I would definitely take a little time to buy a little bit of extra canned goods. So I want to end this video by telling you guys, what's the worst that could happen if you buy an extra month's worth of canned goods? You go to the grocery store tomorrow, you buy some extra beans in a can, some extra stuff that you use, whatever items you already use in canned goods. What's the worst that could happen? In a month from now, you could still have some canned goods in your house. And, they're still good. You can still use them. That's the worst case that happens. You have a little too many groceries at your house. What's the best case scenario that could happen? Now, I really feel bad saying the best case because I've already thought about that when I texted this to someone. Best case scenario, something major happens, the grocery stores close, and there's no food for you to acquire. People start panicking, breaking into stores, totally emptying the store, rioting, looting, that type of stuff. But you got yours. You don't even have to go out. You've got yours for yourself. You've got yours for your family. You might say, oh, yeah, but you only got a month. What are you going to do after? Because I've had someone tell me this. Someone's like, you got 6 months medicine. Whoop-de-doo. What are you going to do at the end of 6 months? Well, hopefully things will have calmed back down. I mean, either that or I hate to say it, but I'm trying to think of the law that I wanted to say. I don't want to say survival of the fittest, but essentially, if you're home safe with your family and everybody else is in the city looting and tearing it up, it's sad to say that bad stuff will happen. I don't want to be out when that happens. I don't want to be in public when stuff like that happens. I want to already be home and prepared. And there's a lot of things you can do to prepare. It's not just food. I say precious metals a little bit. Precious metals is a type of insurance. It's wealth preservation. It's wealth insurance. A pew-pew. That's another type of, it's security. It's good to, you have it. If somebody sees it, they're going to be less apt. If they hear it, I can tell you a 12 gauge, when you chamber around, it's loud enough that people hear it and they think twice. They know that someone in the next room is preparing. And I wouldn't want to charge a room. If you hear that, you're about ready to kick in the door, and all of a sudden you hear that, I'm not going to be the one to kick in that door. I can tell you that. I'm out of there. A lot of people, they're not trained with firearms. Obviously, I would take a class, learn. I mean, there's classes all the time. Safety is number one. Obviously, understanding what you have, understanding to work with. I wanted to do a video with a friend of mine where I showed you guys different pew-pews, but he didn't want to do it because of a potential security risk, and then I got thinking maybe I better not do it because it could be a YouTube risk. But, I mean, if you're just talking about safety, then who knows. With that being said, like I said, I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you all for watching. I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up because it really does help me. This video will not have a lot of likes. People are probably not going to appreciate this video. Definitely check out some of our other videos. They're not as, somebody might say it's fear-mongering. They're not as fear-mongering, I guess you could say, as this video. This video is more about a reality check for people, just to prepare. And that's it. Nothing more. I don't do fear-mongering. I'm not going to tell you, oh, they took your gold in 1933 or whatever, and if you don't buy collectibles or this and that. I heard that on another channel, and I went ballistic at the computer yelling at it because I was like, dude, It was voluntary. They didn't go kick in your door to get the couple silver dimes that you might have had, or $5 gold eagles, or whatever the case may be. It was a voluntary, please turn in your gold. Punishable by law if we catch you, but at the end of the day, it was still voluntary. I mean, can you imagine them going to everybody's door in America to find the 1 ounce of silver that you might or might not have? So with that being said, going to wrap up here. 35 minutes. Oh, my word. I'm so sorry. I try to keep it under 30 all the time. I try 30 max. But with that being said, thank you all for watching. I will see you guys next time on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. It's Tuesday. Can't wait to see how the day plays out. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.